Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Mindcage, and this is a new thriller from director Mauro Borelli and writer Reggie Kiyohara III, and this is a film focusing on two detectives, one veteran who has a lot of baggage in terms of his previous cases, and a young detective, female detective, teaming up to try to take down a copycat serial killer, but they wind up going to the original serial killer and interviewing him. This young woman interviewing a serial killer, and even at one point he's sitting in a cage and questioning her about her dreams and if she still has those dreams. No, this is not a review for Silence of the Lambs, but basically this movie just feels like a big ripoff. And that's the most frustrating thing about this, is that it's so unoriginal. It lifts so many... it's not the same movie. But it basically could be, with a couple added things. It hits very similar beats. It has the same general idea and plot and narrative to it. And it just has no... it's not really homaging it. It's just... feels like it's just ripping it off. And this film has you could tell, is a little lower of a budget, and sometimes it feels awkward and just feels like an unfinished mock-up of Silence of the Lambs with a couple extra steps. And Melissa Roxburgh, I think she's fine. She is there at the center of this film. Martin Lawrence is the detective that has this backstory baggage, especially with this serial killer, and I think Martin Lawrence is fine. It's funny because you don't really think him being a hard-nosed detective, and it's funny because his most famous role is being detectives, but it's just nothing special. And then you have the serial killer, played by John Malkovich. This isn't a career best performance from Malkovich, but he's still very charismatic and is John Malkovich, so at least he brings something to the table that adds some interesting layers and makes you want to watch. Now, there's a couple of specific threads that are thrown in there that feel like they're just kind of padding things, and then the third act happens. And this is where it does diverge from Silence of the Lambs, does something different and original, except it's ridiculous, makes no sense, and is completely absurd, and comes out of left field. And you're just like, oh, what now? This is the direction this movie is going. Completely lost me. My suspension of disbelief went right out the window. Maybe it'll work for you. It is a crazy twist. It is crazy ideas and new directions the film goes in towards the end. It just, to me, was so absurd, so out there, so underdeveloped that it made absolutely no sense and just felt like shock for shock purposes. And in general, it's just not the most engaging or interesting of films. And it's probably going to be pretty forgettable, except for how ridiculously terrible the twist is, and that's not how you want to get remembered. But those are my thoughts on Mindcage. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.